In a short while, we're gonna have a chop saw right in this area here somewhere, and we're gonna have lumber racks on basically this entire wall up to the window. Today, we're gonna get that installed. I've peeked at this a little bit, but I've never taken it out of the box. That comes with a lot of hardware. Okay, this was an 8-pack. And I do believe these are 24 inches high. I'm gonna do a story stick to lay out the wall, but what I was thinking, they have taller ones and they have shorter ones, but with the 24-inch one, that comes to like maybe right here. I'm pretty sure they make an 18-inch one, and the two together would be 42, and I think we got about 44 inches. Go right underneath there. Yeah, it's right about 44 inches, 45 inches to the box. So we're gonna run these right above the box. I wanna do that story stick first though. We're gonna have a taller bench because I'm pretty tall. We're gonna go at about 40 inches high with the bench, and we're gonna have a bench along this entire wall. The bench is actually gonna go all the way to this area right here somewhere, and there's gonna be a urinal on this side. We'll talk about that in a different video. That's gonna be kind of cool. We have the water supply here and the drain. There's gonna be a sink right here, and when I'm doing cutoffs and stuff, the lumber will span right over the sink. It's gonna be an interesting wall, but let's get these brackets laid out today. Yeah, there we go. Got a narrower strip of plywood, something I'll be able to put my marks on and write my notes on. So let's create the story stick real quick, and then we'll get to laying out where the brackets go. Another reason for the taller than average bench height is because I'm gonna have the cabinets on wheels and be able to roll them in and out of the underside of the cabinet. All right, can't find my speed square because of the clutter out here, and that's one of the things that these brackets are going to do. In normal use, they're just going to be brackets, and I'll put lumber on them and then chop that to length, and then it'll go right to the jointer and on. But while I'm working on the shop, I'm going to put whatever I have laying around on top of these as shelves, and we're going to get pretty much everything from the shop onto those shelves as much as we can. Okay, just some quick marks here for the different things. We're going to have a 2-inch lip in the front here, and I'm going to put this all in the computer as well. We're going to have a gap between the bottom of this lip and the top of the cabinets that roll underneath, and we're going to have the biggest wheels that we can get on these things. Well, not the biggest we can get, but maybe 3-inch wheels on them. The parts carts are going to have probably 5-inch, but they could be 6-inch wheels on them. And I'll explain why in an upcoming video, but most of the stuff in here is going to be on wheels. Okay, I got this as far as I need it. Just put the wheels in there. Countertop at 40. Top of the electrical boxes is 50. And then the space between there and the top of the molding right there, which would be right here, if I subtract the 24 inches for the lower brackets and the 18 inches for the upper brackets, that gives me 1.25 inches roughly per space. So I went up another 1.25 inches, which gives us 11.25 inches between the countertop and the bottom of the cabinet, but it's only 1.25 inches above the top of the box there. So that is the line we need right now, and then the brackets will come up to right about there, and that's easy for me to reach. The top one would be hard for some people to reach, but these lower two will definitely be easy to reach. So I have 8 of these. We are going to be putting them on, we have columns. Where is it? You could see one right there, and then in between the columns we have a beef up. They're not on that wall yet, but where are they? Well, actually, these are either a column or a beef up. This is the column right here, beef up, column, and so on. So that's where we're going to be putting them, right on either a column or a beef up between the girts there. So let me get the laser level out, and we'll set that up over here somewhere and snap a real nice laser line on here, and then we'll get it marked at each location, and we'll start putting these up. I misspoke before. There's going to be 8 of the brackets on this wall, pretty much one above each one of the electrical boxes and right on the seams every 2 feet. And what I did here, unfortunately, I don't have a stand for this, but I use this to lay out the entire shop, so I can get it to work without a stand. Okay, there is my laser line, and you can see that is the 1.25 inch mark, and we're dead on it. And we are level and plumb. On both of those. So we are good to go. I got to turn off the lights again and make my marks at each one of these places. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll start hanging these brackets. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not, but I just have little hash marks above each box and at each seam. I think you can see that. The reason for the level line is because we have quite the distance here, and if I just measured up from the floor has a wave to it. Concrete is not a good thing to measure off of. These walls themselves were measured to the top, and then you can see at the bottom it's just touching right there, and there's a 1/2 inch gap over there, and closer to 3/4 inch a gap over there. So you can't measure up from the floor. You got to get something that's nice and level, and you can do that in a couple different ways. Where I put the first mark, I could put the bracket on there and have one bracket out, and then go to the next one and put a level across to the next one, get it dead level, and then shoot a screw in there. I do that a lot if I'm only putting up like 3 standards, 3 bracket sets, but with this many, you're going to have a lot of error by the time you get out to the further ones. Okay, we got our lines. What we're going to do, I believe we'll start as close to the center as possible, like right here, and then we're going to measure dead center between the 2 seams here and see how that works. I don't know if these boxes are dead center either. I'd kind of like it to look nice, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's just put a bracket right on here and go from there. There are a ton of these on Amazon. I don't know if one's better than the other. And these are not sponsored, so it's just some generic shelf brackets, fairly thin. We're going to be putting in a big heavy-duty counter bracket. In my last shop, I had the counter and the chop saw hanging from a Nap Voigt bracket set. So the very top bracket was for a 24-inch shelf, and I had the countertop on that, and then I had brackets underneath it and had shelves underneath it for storage because I was really low on space in that shop. Okay, double check. I don't think, oh, the double ones are for the brackets themselves. You don't have a lot of flexibility as to where you can put them. You can put them here or here. These are not going to be folded up. I guess you could, oh, they go this way anyways, but all right, let's get the rest of these assembled. And there's a whole nother kit in there. So a lot of assembly to do. On our wall, especially on the seams, we're going to be going into treated wood, and if I use these, the part that goes into the treated wood, which is about that much, is going to rot off pretty quick, and there's no threads on the rest. So eventually these would just fall off the wall. The newer treated wood really destroys metal quick. So I'm going to use these at least into the treated part. I believe I have 3 inchers that are not for treated wood for the rest. Extend my line a little bit. All right, that first hole is 7/8 of an inch up, and I'm going to pre-drill a hole. You don't need to pre-drill a hole with spacs, but I find it helps to get the screw going in nice and straight. And this one here does not go into the treated stuff, so we're going to put a regular screw in there, regular specs. Snug, but not tight. Now we'll get this nice and plumb and then drive it home. Yeah, it's right on the bottom of the line. Good, good, good. Perfect. These washer head specs legs interfere just barely with the bottom of the bracket, and I tried putting it on upside down. It does work, of course, but it's not going to have the same load rating, and I would prefer to have the full load rating. So what I'll do, only a few of them go into treated wood, so I'll get some specs for treated wood that have smaller heads on them, which they do make, but I don't have any on hand. But I'm going to put it up anyways and then just swap it out later. Okay, one bracket down, and my thoughts on this so far. It's not the highest end stuff. The metal is fairly thin. It's probably just thick enough to get the rating that they claim. Who knows, it might not be enough for the rating they claim, but it is pretty strong. And I put the top one on upside down, so the top one is not going to have the full load rating that they claim, but I don't care about that. The top rack, I'm just going to be putting like soft maple for the most part on that. I use a lot of that for paint grade stuff and the interior of cabinets, so I'll have a fair stack of that on the top all the time. These lower two are going to be empty unless I'm cutting something. But for now, I'm going to have shelves on these, and I'm going to put everything that's on that table and a lot of the stuff that's on them tables back there, as much as I can fit, is going on these shelves. Okay, and we got these things. These have a little acorn nut that goes on the bottom. I'm not going to be putting these on, but I will be saving them in case I need them. It's possible I'll put these on the top, because that stuff's going to be sitting there all the time. But on these two, I'll be sliding stuff off and on, and those will just get in the way. I'll have to lift everything up and take it over the front. Okay, let's get a few more of these in. We got 1, 2, 3 here. This area, I got a mark there, but this area is going to be open. This is where the miter saw is going to go. And there's going to be a duct coming down from the ceiling right there. And there's going to be an air line. I got to get that all figured out. So I need these brackets in place, and then we'll figure that out. I got to kind of figure out where I'm going to stop. Well, we'll get to that later. Let's get some more brackets in. I was digging around and I found these. These are construction lag screws, and these are 2 inches thick. And then I remembered that in between the seams, this is only 3/4 of an inch thick right here. It has structure going that way. It has the girts going that way, but I only have fillers every 4 feet. So there's a filler here and a filler here. This is just plywood with a girt here and girt here, girt there. But this is incredibly strong just going into the plywood. So I'm going to be using a combination of these, and we'll use the longer ones. Where is that? Right there is a post. So this is a post right here. I'll probably pick up some like these. These are for treated wood. I'll probably pick up something that's like 4 inches long. I want real strong support at the post. We got a post here, a post here, and well, the other one's kind of out of play over there. We'll get it figured out, but it's plenty strong as is. And there you have it. I'm going to swap out a few of these lags at some point, but for now, these are going to get loaded up. Yeah, when I use these, this is always going to be empty right here. I'll come in with lumber, load this up, and then cut everything to length. The chop saw is going to be right here. Got a duct that's going to go up and over to the dust collector, but this is going to have actually 2 dust collections. It's going to have this and a shop vac underneath the counter as well. So these things are very messy, so hopefully that stops the mess there. And we're going to have a compressed air line coming down, and we'll have a little flex hose here just for blowing off the counter and stuff. And then it will come down and it'll just have a chuck on it like the one over here. A safety chuck. Like this bad boy right here. These are really nice. I'll be setting up the compressor and doing an initial burn-in probably 3-4 days, so you're going to want to see that. It should be pretty cool. All right, that is going to wrap this up. Yeah, I am so glad to finally have these in, because a lot of this stuff that's just sitting around on temporary benches is going to be able to come off of those and go on to temporary shelves over there. Eventually everything's going to find a home, but this is a more permanent home for like all the stuff on this table is going to go on there. And we got a table there, table there, table there, and one back there, well, two back there. Almost all of that stuff is going to be able to go onto shelves, and it'll sit there while I get the rest of the shop done, and then we'll start building permanent homes for stuff. This wall right here, it's not going to be a full cleat wall, but it's going to have a lot of cleated area on it, and I'll start making little homes and stuff for a lot of the tools and the chargers and stuff like that. So at some point real soon, everything's going to have a home. All right, so make sure you stop back and watch the compressor startup video, but tomorrow I'm going to be laying out the ductwork for the dust collection over to the miter saw. I'm going to lay it out on the floor and then transfer it up to the ceiling, and I have hardware in this pile here. We'll show you how that's going to work. That's going to be pretty interesting. So make sure you subscribe and stop back to see that.